This is the AOC Sports High School Football Preview Show.
Just 2 weeks in the regular season remaining here on Friday Night Rivals, and we're back here at AOC for our pregame show. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, as we dip our toes into 7A region play for the first time all season tonight, as we've got Baker traveling across the bay to take on Fairhope. But last week, 6A, where we've kind of been a lot, lot this year. We were there at St. Paul's and Blunt, and didn't know what to expect. Seems like a lot of Fridays, but then early on, kind of feeling each other out, and then turned out again we had another great game on Friday Night Rivals.
It was a great game, and again, things never went by the script that you thought when you saw A happen, you expected B next. But sometimes it would be Q instead, and you're like, what's going on here? It was really a lot of random things happening in that game. You never really felt a rhythm in the game. It was just this play and that play and this drive. So at the very end of the game, Blunt's been trailing the whole game.
Yep.
They get a highly unlikely pick six to take the lead, and then Williamson, running back for St. Paul's, breaks off a 60-yard touchdown run. They're back on top. They hold on.
When we'd really not seen many big plays. No. We saw a lot of grinding out, a lot of moving between the 30s.
Especially with him.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't expected like, well, now he'll rip off a big run and it'll be over with. Exactly. We weren't expecting that from him, but both teams played so hard. Blunt was playing for a playoff spot. They're gone now. Yeah. And St. Paul's kind of fortified their chance to get in the playoffs.
They beat Baldwin County this week, and then
they're in.
Right. And it also seemed like it kind of felt like a playoff game from two equally matched teams, like one of those 2-3 seeds you see where you get teams that are just super close.
I agree, and you could see both teams were really playing hard. When I got on the field afterwards, you could see it in the players. Mm-hmm. They had given everything they had, and there wasn't as much jubilation from St. Paul's as, whew, it's over.
Check that one off. Let's try to get it next week.
Get Blunt on the bus.
Yes.
Thank you for coming, but it was a tough game.
And I think everybody else in the region that's matching up against 6A, Region 1 down here, first round of the playoffs, they're like, yeah, not bum Blunt's. They're like, oh, it's okay, Blunt's not good. We're not going to have to play Blunt in the playoffs. Heather Healy with us. Of course, she's on the sidelines every week. And last week, bringing us not just injury reports, game reports, but the fashion report last week. Maybe the best.
That was probably my favorite one I've done all year.
Yeah. Oh, ours too.
It was incredible.
Because and I think after we had a chance to think about it, we all realized, the flamingo, it is an underappreciated animal.
It is. When I met those four or five group of guys, I was sitting there, I was going, it's homecoming at St. Paul. And so I was like, you got to be part of the homecoming court. Oh, no, not at all. They do this
That's a Friday in October.
Exactly. They do it every homecoming. And they were like, we decided to go with animal print. We decided to go with, be as flashy as we can be. And I feel like they succeeded. And I heard you guys just laugh like no other in the press box. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is going really well.
It worked.
I mean,
the flamingos is what got me.
Yeah. Usually when the sideline reporter is doing a lengthy report and you miss a whole series of play-by-play, usually like the play-by-play guy's like, all right, come on, let's go. I'm like, no, let's get going. This is good. This is good.
They were all attitude.
Yeah.
And they were kind of spoofing it. They were like, they were the cool guys.
Yeah. And they knew it.
Well, the one guy, and maybe they aren't, but they played the role so well. It was hilarious.
It was great, and I knew that the interview was going a little bit longer than it probably should have, but I mean, somebody would have said, okay, wrap it up, but I mean, I just let them go, and it was probably the best interview I've done all season.
It's almost like they were mocking themselves, by being so over.
That's what made it so great.
No doubt. So the four St. Paul's kids, that was great.
Yeah.
So back to the game.
Yeah,
we got one tonight, and we've got.
That's why we're here.
We've got a good one tonight. And again, we're talking about playing for the to get into the playoffs and where will you be seated? That's what Baker's looking at.
Yeah.
Fairhope.
Yeah, Fairhope's going to be number 2. They're going to be the number 2 seed in the. We think Coach Carter and I were just talking about that, and he said someone who's a bracketologist, and I knew immediately he was not referring to me at that point. So Baker, they're going to need some help. They'd have to win the game tonight, and then they're going to need some help. We need Daphne. Need to get some help from Daphne losing, I believe, because Daphne beat them early in the year.
That's right.
But they would just have to take care of things tonight to give themselves a chance, and then see what happens. Then in the following next week, the last week, the regular
season. Quite a season that Fairhope's had too. I don't think Coach Carter would have told you going into the year that he thought this was his strongest team. He's going to roll. They're going to roll. They're going to compete. But I think that they've probably kind of graded out and won more games that he was really expecting.
Yeah, ranked number 2 at one point this
Yes,
year,
yeah.
7-1. Their only loss in a crazy game against Foley, 39-38, and that Foley team has really come on.
Yes.
Come on well. They're sitting atop the region right now because of their win over Fairhope. So that was a crazy game. I know that Fairhope got a little dinged up early in that game, kickers, running backs, those things. So, but that happens in every. That's part of the game. So here we are with just 2 weeks left in the regular season. Tonight we are at Fairhope. Watch out for the cannon. Remember?
Yeah.
The cannon. It's
Yeah.
gonna get you. It's gonna get
It's
you.
true.
It always does. It gets us.
I got to prepare myself all week.
Without a doubt. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and talk more about our matchup tonight here on Friday Night Rivals. It's Baker and Fairhope tonight. Again, just 2 weeks left in the regular season. Friday Night Rivals tonight. We are in the land of the Pirates ship. We're in Fairhope tonight. First time seeing the Pirates in 7A, and also first time seeing the Baker Hornets, our 7A Region 1 matchup tonight here on Friday Night Rivals. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Zion Davis of the Baker Hornets, Coach Steve Norman here with us as well. And boy, Coach, coming down to the end of the season, competitive region. You want to get into the playoffs, gonna need some help, but the one thing, get a win tonight, and that's the most.
Right.
That's what you can control, right?
That's what we got to do. We got to take care of ourselves and take care of what we need to do and keep everything in our focus with that, and that's what we have to do. We can't look ahead, especially against a team like Fairhope. They're really good.
You got a Foley teams on top of this region, and yet you beat them.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the talent's kind of spread out in this region. Not anybody. I don't want to say anybody, but there's a lot of teams that can be very competitive with nearly any other team.
Absolutely. Pick anybody on a Friday night. It's going to be tough. Anybody you pick on our region. It's always been that way. So that's a good thing about it too.
They made a movie about that any given Sunday, right? Like they kind of made a movie about.
So it's any given Friday.
That's right. That's right. So when your team likes to run the football and you kind of get in that situation where you're like 3rd and 1. We need a first down. Like you got a guy, right?
We got a guy.
You got a
guy. That's when we call Zion's number. If anytime he's like an all-purpose back for us, he does a great job 1st and 10. But if it's definitely something we got to have, we put him in there and let him carry the load.
I know you kind of split the load back there with Rod Taylor. Tell us so far what it's been like offensively for you and for your Hornets getting up to this part of the season. What's the year been like?
No, it's had its ups and downs, but I feel like we're going to perform on Friday. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to get the job done.
This is a team that's got a quarterback of some note. Talk
Yeah.
about how he's playing and how the team is responding around him, because he's a young guy.
He is. He's a junior. This is his junior year. He
right.
seems young because he's been playing since he was a sophomore.
Yes.
But Josh Flowers does a phenomenal job for us, and he's really growing more and more as a leader. And as he's such a student of the game, he's learning more about how to manage the game and make good decisions on the field. And that's something we've really been concentrating on and working on throughout the season.
The position of quarterback, Jim, and maybe we don't talk about this enough. At the high school level, I think you did bring this up last week, it has been elevated as to what they need to know and how they need to play.
Absolutely.
So you've got players now, quarterbacks, with all this on their shoulder that maybe 15 years ago they didn't have.
Yeah, they didn't have it. Absolutely not. It really requires them to take a little bit more further step up in the game and be a little bit more of a student of the game and learn more and spend a little extra time in film and a little extra time, making sure mentally they're prepared as well as physically.
Yeah, and it's also too, as you see quarterback play more on them, those defensive guys, they're not cutting short the study time.
That's right.
Like what I think we talk about that from the quarterbacks, but what the defensive coordinators are bringing to challenge those young
and
quarterbacks.
And the complexity that they're bringing to the table and stuff, and we try to mirror colleges so much. We try to go and figure out what they're doing, and Fairhope, Coach Carter, he runs their defense. So that makes it even tougher for us because of what he brings to the table, and it makes it really tough to be able to combat against some of that stuff on a Friday.
Yeah, talk about Josh. Talk about your quarterback that everybody loves to watch the highlights of when you get a chance to see him from Baker.
He's something special, It's times, you thinking he finna get sacked, he just roll out, find somebody open, and just take off running, And I really look up to him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, there's something about him too, composure-wise. I think that's what jumped out again we've seen this all year.
Yeah.
But these sophomores who act like seniors.
Sure.
Who do they think they are?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Josh had that as a sophomore, and I think that's
Right.
what jumped out, right?
Sure, a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, nothing. It doesn't matter if we're up by 4 touchdowns or down by 4 touchdowns. He's the same person. He comes over the sidelines, tries to manage the game the best he can. He's getting better at that. That's something that we've been trying to work on. So, yeah, it's always enjoyable to see a kid grow.
Oh, yeah.
As an athlete.
Sure. They got some weapons offensively.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
What's been keeping you up awake at night
You
this
know,
week?
their quarterback's extremely good.
Yep.
He's extremely good. He is extremely talented at what he does, and what they do is it makes it so difficult running the option the way they do it. And their whole, their scheme is very tough to stop.
And
for
tough
us.
to replicate in practice,
It's
right?
tough to replicate in practice, very much so. I mean, we were struggling at this whole week with, they do these shifts, they move people around, they do all of this stuff that gets your eyes going in 5 different directions, and then the ball snaps, and then you got to stop the option. So you got to make sure you're in the right spot, the quarterback dive and pitch, every time.
Yeah, we saw them last year with that, and it looked like, wow.
Yeah.
That might have been against Theodore, but,
Yep.
but they had a game, and they got on Theodore early. It was like, how do you become proficient at stopping this offense in the middle of a game?
Yeah, it's very tough.
It's
very tough. It's very tough to stop.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. A lot on the line here tonight. Region seedings trying to get into a playoff game, and you know what? It's going to feel like a playoff game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to have that same atmosphere. It's always fun to play in Fairhope anyway with the cannon and all that stuff.
You hope it's not going off. You hope they have lots of powder left at the end of the night.
I
hope he's got a supply chain shortage on the gunpowder over there. It's
They put the cannon on the visitor's side.
Yeah, oh yeah. So it's weird how that's right there by you staying.
Exactly.
Oh, the gamesmanship within the game.
The game within the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Carter, he's seen a few games.
He has.
He's done that. All right. Speaking of Coach Carter, we'll talk with him. Zion, great to meet you. We'll see you on the field before the game. Thanks, Coach. And we'll talk about this game from the Fairhope side of things. Coach Carter and Holland Brock going to join us right after this. Friday Night Rivals, our pregame shows. We're just about 15 minutes away from kickoff. We're here at AOC, as we are every week. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, head coach Tim Carter of the Fairhope Pirates, Holland Brock with the Pirates. Let's see, H-back, tight end, linebacker, certified baseball stud at Fairhope. This is kind of everything, right? Like,
Yeah, he's the reincarnation of Riley.
We were just saying, so 8th year here at Fairhope, and because Dan and I have been doing this for 100 years, but we remember when Coach was at Auburn, came down and played McGill playoff game, and then Coach's move, and we found out that Coach Carter was coming down here, and Dan and I were like, we like that guy when he was at Auburn. I mean, a lot of coaches we don't get to know like we do the local ones, and had to deal with Coach getting ready for that game. We're like, we were glad he was down here.
Yeah, we've won the lottery tonight because we've got Coach Norman and Coach Carter. And
there's been so many hugs here tonight.
Oh yeah,
lots of
not
hugs.
nearly as funny as Steve. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, you opened for Steve, right? Good to have you here, Coach.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Good to be here.
Like we were just talking about with Coach Norman. I mean, I think between the lines for sure, it's going to feel like a playoff game tonight, right?
Oh, absolutely, and has for the last 4 or 5 years. We've been going against Baker and Coach Norman's teams. I mean, they are just very well prepared, and of course, they've been a playoff mainstay here recently. And last year it took us a 59-yard field goal
That
to even
was
put us back in the hunt in that ball game.
Incredible.
Luke Freer, right?
Oh, absolutely. And what a moment for us, but that's just what a battle this game has been.
And so the great year you've had, 7 had the great pick 6 to win to beat Spanish Fort to start the year, then went on the road and it was a big win. Where'd you go?
We played Guff Breeze, very close game.
Yeah, there, and just had a great season. Only lost in that wild game against Foley, and I'm guessing over the years, Fairhope and Foley, there's probably been a few of those over all the years. But you got to be
many that we've seen.
Yeah, you got to be super pleased with the 2022 version of the Pirates.
Absolutely, man. This has been a really good team, fun one to coach. We lost a lot of really good players a year ago.
That's what I was thinking, that the expectations couldn't be that high because a lot of guys they were gone.
Well, you know, I think our kids have high expectations, and this senior class was no different. They really wanted to do well, and here they are. They're in the hunt. And everything's in front of them, and you know, we need some help. But it's like Steve said earlier. I mean, we just got to take care of business and take it one snap at a time, one game at a time, and you know, whatever happens, we'll live with it. But you know, this region is really crazy. I mean, you could conceivably have 5 teams at 4-2 after Friday night.
Incredible.
And you could shake them all up, and a lot of times put on different humor, be like, oh, they're kind of a lot of teams very similar.
Absolutely.
As they go ahead. Holland, talk about just the year. It's not just the fact you've had the great year, but the way you've won some of the games. This has had to been like a super fun season too, right?
It's been exciting for sure. You know, the pick six, and then all the games have been in the fourth quarter. Most of them have been, at least. And it's been just a lot of fun to play in for sure. And we've had some guys step up in big moments and make the plays that we needed to make the plays and went our way.
And playing both ways. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, you gotta love it, right? You
I
just
love it.
Be on the
Yes,
field
sir.
as
I
much
love
as
it, for
possible.
sure, for sure.
I had a feeling that was going to be your answer. But offense or defense, if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
Defense.
I thought that was going to be the answer too. Tell
I
me
work
why.
with defense mostly. That's why he said that.
Right.
Does Coach give the H-back tight end a little love once in a while?
Little bit.
Yeah, it's, good job. All the blocking, they got to give them a little. But you know, you got to have kids like this, right? I mean, to have a great year, this is what you got to have.
Absolutely. I mean, he's just willing to do whatever. He was a starting will linebacker a year ago.
Yep.
We were a little thin at the defensive end position, needed some pass rush, and he's like, Coach, whatever, you know, and he's been back and forth. We've had a lot of injuries this year. We've really had probably as many injuries as I've had as a head coach, and it's kind of, but we've had different guys step up, and you know, he's played a lot of different roles. He was gone for the first 2 weeks of fall camp playing baseball out on the West Coast. So, you know, we just had to battle a lot of different things, but well, we're sure glad he's playing for us. He's a difference maker.
Remember we spent our senior seasons playing baseball around the West Coast?
Yeah.
We did.
I was in Monterey.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right,
was a blast.
so talk about getting some pressure on the quarterback. Big challenge tonight. Got to find a way to get to Josh Flowers,
Yes,
right?
sir. For sure, we got to put pressure on him. You know, we got to just find ways to stop him. That's pretty much the thing. Stop him and stop the running game. And if we do that, we'll have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, he's as a defensive coordinator, he's one of those guys that does, like I was joking with Coach Norman, he's the one who makes you think late at night about what are we going to do here, right?
Yeah, you know, Baker is just so diversified too, though. They've got a lot of talented skill players. And so it really makes it difficult because he can beat you throwing the football as well as run the football. He's very similar to what we have on our side of the ball. So we, Coach Norman and I can kind of sympathize with each other. You know, Caden Crill's accounted for 2,400 all-purpose yards so far through 8 games. And so, but, you know, Josh has been offered by everybody under the sun. You know, he has got the measurables, he's got the heart. I mean, last year stopping him as a runner when he was a 10th grader was extremely difficult. So, and then the supporting cast that they have, I mean, they really have a good football team. And like I said, they are the ones that you know, right now I guess you'd say Foley's in the lead in our region, and they beat them going away. So, you know, we definitely, no matter what the outcome is, we definitely will not have overlooked Baker by any means. They're outstanding.
Great history over the past years with these two programs as well. Holland, we'll see you on the field before the game. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Heather's going to come back, wrap things up. She's going to talk with the two players and get you ready for the broadcast as well. Dan and I off to the press box to get ready for tonight's matchup between Fairhope and Baker here on Friday Night Rivals.
Welcome back, everybody, to the high school football preview show. Heather Healy here. Jim and Dan are already up in the press box. And before I have some fun with the players that we have tonight, it's time to do our Wendy's Giant of the Week. Congratulations to this week's Wendy's Giant of the Week, Ja'Cory Barnes. He's a running back from Viger High School. Do you want to be this week's Wendy's Giant of the Week? If you're a junior or a senior that plays at any Alabama high school in our viewing area, well, guess what? You can win. Log on to UTV 44 and click on the contest tab to be entered to win a Wendy's Giant of the Week prize pack. Very cool prize pack. Rules and regulations, of course, do apply. All right, Zion Davis, Hollenbrock, great to have you both here with me today. This is the most fun part of this segment for sure. What are you looking forward to Friday night playing at home?
It's going to be a dogfight for sure. It's going to be 48 minutes straight of just bashing each other, and I'm just excited for that, honestly.
Don't bash each other right now. What about
Not
you?
right now, not yet.
I'm looking forward, being a running back. I'm just trying to get as many yards as possible.
Yeah.
Score as much as I can.
There you go. All right, we got a couple minutes left. My favorite is kind of the lightning round of questions here. Kind of prepped you on a little bit. Halloween theme. We ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Favorite Halloween costume that you have ever worn?
I think I dressed up as, what's his name? I think I dressed up as a nerd on Halloween. That was my favorite one.
Okay. I like that. What about you?
I was Scooby-Doo and my brother was Shaggy.
Oh,
we were
I love
younger,
that.
so.
Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Did you have a bow tie for your nerd?
I did.
Okay.
I had little glasses with tape in them.
Yes, that's how you do it. All right. You get a basket full of Halloween candy. What do you keep? What do you throw away?
I'm keeping most of the chocolate and like the Sour Patch Kids and all that stuff, and I'm throwing away the Whoppers.
Ooh, okay. What about you?
I'm definitely keeping the Twix. I keep most of the chocolate too.
Okay.
And then I'll throw away the Twizzlers and any other stuff like that.
See, the Twizzlers that you get in your basket is not like, I love the pull and peel, but not the other ones that you get in the basket. Those are gone. Those are not bad answers. Okay, you're stuck in a room with a movie villain. Who is it?
Probably I say Jason.
Jason. Okay, what about you?
I'd say Joker.
Joker.
Just 'cause his laugh, you know.
Oh, that's a
Might
good
make
one.
me laugh a little bit.
Maybe. To me,
Hope
they
he
get
doesn't
annoying
come.
real quick, but that's
Maybe.
just me. Last question, guys. If I can read, carve or paint a pumpkin?
Probably paint.
Paint? What would you paint it?
Ooh, I try and paint myself really.
Ah, I like that. What about that?
Carve.
Carve. Yeah, there's nothing like carving a.
Nothing
It's a
like
lot
carving.
of work.
It is, but once you do it and you're finished with it,
Do you save the pumpkin seeds?
you gotta throw them in the trash.
That's very true. All right, best answers I think we've had all season, guys. Thanks so much. Play fair, play safe, and we will see you both on the sideline tonight. Until then, Jim and Dan, we are going to take you to the press box now.